to a trampoline.
Okay, I'm glad we remember the story. So it happened at the firehouse, and we talked about when. Remember we said it happened in present day, right? Like that story could have happened today. It wasn't like a story from history, like some of the ones we've read, and it didn't happen in the future. It happened right now, right? Okay, we also talked about major and minor characters. Do you remember those? Kind of. Do you remember one of them?
Yeah.
Which one do you remember? The major characters? What are major characters?
I just said it.
Let's just say I think for a second.
Major characters is people that comes in the story every time, not mostly of them.
The most, right? That's what we said. Major characters are the characters that show up the most in the story. Good job, Josette. Who remembers what the minor characters are? Juan, you remember what minor characters are?
The people are in the story.
So there's some people that are in the story. Are they really important?
No.
Not really. Not so much, right?
They're almost important.
They're kind of important, but not as important as the major characters.
Like in the middle.
Like in the middle? Okay. So who remembers like the major characters that were in Flat Stanley? The major ones, the ones Josiah said show up the most.
Fast Stanley, firefighters.
Flat Stanley and the firefighter. Okay, what about you have another one? You want to talk the minor characters? Okay, who were the minor characters, Caitlin?
Minor characters was like the cat, the mom.
You mean
Yeah.
Furball?
Furball, the mom and the dad. We see them a little bit, but we don't see them on every
You mean-
page like we do with
you
Flat
mean
Stanley,
Spot?
right?
And there was another one from
What?
the nature characters, his brother.
His brother, Arthur? Okay, let's think about the problem or the conflict. What was the problem in Flat Stanley? Do you remember it? Just one remembers it?
I know it.
What was it?
The problem.
I know it.
What? Fast.
The problem in Flat Stanley. Do you remember it?
I got one.
Okay, hold on. Let's let Juan try, and then we'll come back to you.
About Furball stuck in the tree.
Furball was stuck in the tree.
Isn't it too like when they
How can I
put
say
it in
that?
the house?
I just got it.
In the house.
It's what
Are you thinking about the other Flat Stanley we read?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So the problem in this Flat Stanley was that
Furball.
the cat was stuck in the
You
tree.
mean Furball?
Furball. What about in any story? What's the problem? The problem is something that's going
Wrong.
wrong. Right? Something
I
that's
got
going
it.
wrong. Good job. Okay, and then what about the resolution?
Resolution.
What's that?
Oh, that's tricky.
Nayeli's not here, but I remember she came up with a really good way for us to remember it. She said it's kind of like the solution.
Solution.
In some stories, it can be a lesson, something that you learn. In Flat Stanley, what was the resolution? How was the problem solved?
Oh.
You remember?
Flat Stanley pulled his body apart to save Furball.
They used it like a stretcher, right? And they caught it. Good job.
The mom grabbed Stanley's hand, and Arthur grabbed his legs to make a trampoline.
Yeah, they made a trampoline and they caught him, right? When he was falling out of the tree.
And he bounced up and hit to the ground.
Good job. So all the stories that we're reading today, they're not going to be as long as Flat Stanley. They're pretty short stories.
You know, you kind of cats are falling, and they stop and turn around. Sometimes they do that.
Yeah, cool. So we're going to read some more stories today. They're not going to be as long as Flat Stanley, but they're going to be about all those things we just talked about. They're going to be about the major and minor characters. They're going to be about the setting and about the problem and about the resolution in 1 second. But we're going to go through some of our strategies. You guys remember what the first thing we do when we get one of these tests and we see that there's all this stuff we have to read? What should we do first?
We have to
Go
do
first
check
and
the
then-
answers first.
Hold on. I'll take someone who's raising their hand. Caitlin, what do you do first?
You read the answers and you read the things, and if you can't find it, go back in the story.
So you read the question. You read the question and the answers. And if you can't find it, then you go back in the story. Okay? Yeah?
You read the story and you
questions, right?
Mhm.
And then you said we're gonna go read the story, and we have to remember things that we read, right?
Mhm.
So to remember, we're gonna start circling the important things in the story. So if you see
Circle the keyword
the keywords like
in the question.
well, we're gonna go.
I just did number 3.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's be quiet for 1 second. You're gonna get a chance to tell me all the stuff that you think in 1 second. So yeah, we're gonna read the questions. We're gonna go back and we're gonna read the story, and we're gonna circle important details. We're gonna do this together in just a second. So important details can be like the names of characters, if we see the setting, if it tells us where, or if it gives us a year, if it tells us when. Then we're gonna go back to the question like Juan said, and what kind of things do we circle in the question, Juan?
Circle the
The
keywords.
keywords in the question. And then we're gonna do what? Who can read number 4 for me?
Wait.
Josiah, go ahead and read this one. What does number 4 say?
Cross out any word and put by baby.
The ones that are maybes, right? And then we're gonna go back and
That's
we're
not
gonna.
how to spell baby.
Yeah, it is.
Go back
Ben,
into
we're-
the
Go ahead, Caitlin, read 5.
Go back in the text to find your answer.
Now read number 6.
Yes, go ahead, read number 6.
Go back to the question and circle the bubble your answer.
Okay, so we're gonna try. This is a lot to remember. So we're
You're
gonna
supposed
try
to
to do this together, and so we can make it a process. So we know every time we see a reading question, we're just gonna do these things without even thinking about them.
Why
Okay?
you put question marks?
To help you remember, look at the question.
And why you circle a C?
To remind you to circle it. All right. So we're gonna read.
Bullet.
We're gonna read this one together. Caitlin, can you read the first part for me?
Key words
You're going in circles,
outside.
Josiah.
I just realized that I forgot something, and I'm the teacher. What's the first step we're supposed to do?
Read
Read
the
the
question
question
first.
Okay, so let's read the question first. Let's look down here.
Can we read the question?
Oopsies.
Okay.
Ha ha ha.
I just
Really?
Okay, let's read the question. The question says, from Summer Games, what is the main problem in the story? So we don't know yet. We haven't read it.
Let's read the story.
So what do we do? What's
Go
step
back.
2?
Go back to the page.
Go on the story.
Go
Now
back
we
to
read the story.
Read the
Okay.
page.
Okay, Caitlin. When everybody's ready for you, then we'll read. Okay.
Nikki,
Nuka.
Luca went outside to meet his brothers
Siku.
Siku.
What happens when we come across names? Do we really care what their names are?
No.
No, you can just make it up.
Josiah is a name that means little brother.
That's fine.
Silly is a name that means big brother.
Okay, so let's stop here for a second. Let's circle the important details. So, names.
They have capital S.
Names.
They have capital
One.
names.
We have this one,
Josiah.
and then we had, you called them Juan and Josiah, right? We don't want to get stuck. If we're reading and we get stuck on a name, that doesn't mean we just stop and give up on the question or give up reading. It doesn't matter. We know it's a name.
need to mix that
we can
up.
go on, right? We've been working on that all year. So we have 2 characters. We have Nuka and we have Siku. Do we know anything else important? Do we know anything about the setting yet?
Easy.
Or should we keep
Josiah
reading?
and
Keep reading.
Keep reading? Okay, Josiah, will you read the second?
It was summer and not sun. Let's go. The sun barely
Set.
set at night. The sky never became completely dark. The sky was a beautiful blue.
Okay, did we learn anything important in this one?
No.
Nothing important at all? Nothing about the characters or about the setting?
About the sun setting.
The sun was setting. Okay, so what time of day does that tell us it is?
Sunset.
Sunset.
Nuh-uh.
It's gonna be morning.
No.
It could be night.
It's gonna be.
Well, we'll see. It
It's gonna
says
be dark.
the sun barely set at night. The sun never became completely dark. So we know it's sometime in the day. We're not sure when.
Noon.
The
But what about
darkness.
where it takes place? Do we know where it is? Is it in Arizona?
No.
The darkness.
Then where?
We don't know where.
Las Vegas.
Oh, Alaska.
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 Las Vegas.
Important detail. We're going to circle it. So now we know who the characters are and we know the setting.